Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Alien vs. Predator Galaxy YouTube channel. Very nearly said podcast. This is Aaron Percival, aka Corporal Hicks, and joining me are regular partners in crime.
Adam Zeller, aka Ridgetop.
Voodoo Magic, aka wait a minute. It's basically AJ Bischoff, aka Voodoo Magic.
Eric Adams, aka Xenomorphing.
And this is a motion tracker video talking about some of the new news that's cracking off in the Alien and Predator world. Yeah. And it's a full cast today, so this one must be something a bit more important. So we finally got a title, name, official synopsis for Dan Trachtenberg's Prey.
Prey. So
what do you guys? 20th Century Studios logo, not Disney.
Well, yeah, that was always going to happen.
But I'm just saying it's been verified now. We've always been saying it would be.
Yeah.
So it's the Predator film formerly known as Skulls. They've now come out and officially called it Prey. So first reactions, guys. What was the immediate response to this?
Well, for me, I mean, what can I say? I love it. You know, even though I prefer the title Skulls, I've been consistent since day one that I feel after Shane Black's The Predator that a new film needed to stay clear from the branding itself as quote unquote Predator. You know, like a Batman film being called The Dark Knight, or a Superman film being called Man of Steel, or my idea to call an alien film The Perfect Organism. I think it was a step in the right direction to refreshen the franchise and even attract a few more viewers, perhaps, that would dismiss another Predator film out of hand just for its Predator title, especially if they're looking on a guide somewhere or just cruising through, you know, the Hulu channels for something to watch. So while I love the title Skulls, or would love a title like Hunter or The Hunt, Prey accomplishes this nicely. So for me, and it's a great counterpart to Predator, you know, Prey and Predator. So it's a big thumbs up for me, guys. What do you guys think?
Oh, I like it. I mean, yeah, I woke up to this news yesterday morning and I was like, oh, wow, they announced it. It's here now. And it was great to see that kind of acknowledgement on the official Predator social channels too. Just like, hey, this movie exists and it's coming. Because it was kind of a, you know, I think you pointed this out too, AJ. It is kind of odd that you sometimes see movies like, oh, first day of filming. And we never really saw that too much with this movie other than a few personal social accounts. So it was good to see that acknowledgement, the start of the promotion officially. And I like the title. Yeah, it's a good wordplay on Predator. There's still that identification there with the logo, right? Like the logo still has that traditional Predator font, but it looks like stone, you know, like dark stone. Like I dig that kind of look, which goes to the whole, I guess, tribal nature of the story. So yeah, I dig the way that looks. I dig that logo. And the name, I think, is, again, it goes with Predator. I mean, it kind of made me think we've had other stories like Pride of the Heavens. We've had Alien versus Predator Prey. So this is a name that's been associated with it before. So I dig it. It's not what I was expecting at all, really, but I dig it.
Were you expecting a subtitle?
No, I was expecting Predator something. I don't know. But so, yeah, I guess I was. But
I was going to say, that is a subtitle.
Yeah, they're not going to call it Predator 5. I mean, numbers, when they get that high, people associate that sort of number with a bad sequel because of the old days. But yeah, it's a good title. I dig it.
All right.
Yeah, I prefer Skulls, but as has been pointed out, it has a nice Predator and Prey. You've got a nice synergy going on there. Yeah, I would have preferred Skulls, or Skull maybe, but No objections. As you point out, it does the color palette to it. It does have that nice way of, because I think up to now it's always pretty much been in red or orange. It's got
I
a
think
nice way.
Predators was green.
Was it?
At least in the title card in the
forget
film,
that.
I'm sure
It was, yeah. And all the marketing,
okay.
the logo was actually different for that film.
Yeah, because
So it
that
looked
might have been
more-
like trying to reference the jungle setting, maybe.
Mm,
This
maybe.
one, as you say, references the sort of like the flint work sort of tools of that era. So, yeah, the only thing I would say is that there are a lot of horror films just called Prey. So I don't think this is going to get mixed up with them, but from that perspective, it is kind of like going in an already saturated field of films called Prey. But yeah, it works for what it is.
Can you recall any? Does any come to mind? I'm trying to think of any horror films.
Well, a lot of them are quite bad. That's why you don't remember them.
like
Let's
B
straight to
level
the-
or C level. Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't expecting this as a title at all. I kind of really liked Skulls as well, but completely selfishly, I really wanted a subtitle because it is so fucking annoying for me when I'm trying to keep up like Twitter feeds and stuff, and I'm trying to keep track of like new news and stuff like that. And when you're searching Predator, it is nothing but a constant stream of stuff to do with sexual predators, and it really bums me out. It really
And
bums me
wildlife.
out.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of wildlife.
and wildlife, and
Yeah,
then I changed the
predators.
feed to Prey, and it was exactly the fucking same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. So, on an entirely selfish level, I really wanted something subtitled because Alien Covenant was so much such an easier feed on me than the Predator or Predator.
Yeah, it's become such a terrible hashtag too. The stuff that comes up when you click on that, and I'm just looking for the thing with the mandibles, man. That's all I'm looking for.
But in terms of, I think it's a really smart title. I thought Skulls was a smart code name and would have made a smart title as well in terms of being simplistic, but still very relevant. And Prey works fantastically as well, especially then when you take the focus of that first still to be her Naru key in the foreground with the Predator as this big looming presence behind her as well. That Prey.
Well, I wouldn't call it a
really
still,
well,
though, right? I mean, that's more of a promotional image than a still. I mean, it looks like it's been. I don't think that was taken with actress Amber Midthunder.
Well, whatever. Well, it is. It's her.
It looks like a photo of her, but it's a photoshopped, marketing promo still.
Yeah.
I know what you mean.
The Predator looks photoshopped in it. The silhouette of the Predator. Looks
Well, you know what I mean.
superimposed.
In terms of composition and everything, is a thing to release alongside the title.
No, it's a really cool teaser image. Like just the way that it shows the Predator without giving too much away. It's like exactly the right balance.
Let's add that onto the screen now and talk about that a little bit then.
Yeah.
So our first official look at the film, and to be fair, I think Adam pretty much mentioned this earlier. This film has been so under the radar, and no official filming announcement, no wrap announcement. It's taken this long to even no proper casting. Deadline would have normally been all over casting announcements and stuff like that. All we got was a bit of rumors about Amber. And everything else was all just sort of pieced together through investigative fan work, basically. And then when we do get things, Adam mentioned personal stuff made on Twitter. As soon as it then gets posted in our thread, it gets removed 2 days later. So it's like, somebody's, no mention of this. We don't want anything. And then here we are with our first actual look. It's something related to the film.
Yeah. I don't know. I just adore this image, guys. And look at that. I really hope, Aaron, can you zoom out of that? I really think this would make a great poster if you actually come all the way out, like in poster size. Keep scrolling back like you had it before. There you go.
Yeah, well, somebody, I think it was Jan on one of the Facebook groups, basically took the
Yeah.
took the Prey logo and
Yeah.
bung it on the top there.
And I would love this because you guys have seen those horrible promo images and posters from studios often, especially with superhero movies where it's just a bunch of photoshopped heads and torsos
Yeah.
looking intensely out into the sky and the horizon. And underneath is the title. But what we got here looks like creative fan art. And I mean that 100% as a compliment. You know, we have this great image of Naru, if I'm pronouncing it correctly, or Naru, in her war paint, armed with a bow and arrow. And as Adam pointed out to me, a spear as well. And she's stalking her prey there. And you could almost see a silhouette of the ominous predator, you know, especially at her head's length. And then it becomes more into focus there. Yeah. Um, and and on his back, by the way, it almost looks like there is a sword on his back. That kind of looks like the handle or the would it be the
Looks like
hilt
a hilt. Yeah, looks
for
like a
an
hilt.
for an elder's sword. You know, a possible
Yes.
grayback predator, perhaps from Predator 2. Anyone?
I don't know about that. I've heard a couple rumors about the thing on the shoulder. I think it could be a plasma caster folded back. I think there was also another mention by Kyle Strauss on one of the social posts about an extraterrestrial bow, and it wasn't blatant. It was just something he kind of threw out there that was I thought was being a little hinty. So I wonder if they are bringing that bow from the game into the film. But I don't know. That could be a stretch to have them both have bows. It might feel a little off, but it would be a cool weapon to see.
I don't know. It looks like a sword handle to me, but whatever it is,
I think it looks like a sword handle. Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to say something right before Eric brings up.
Yeah.
If you guys look at this image of these leafless trees and looks like ash is falling.
It does. It
like there
looks
was a
very
fire.
volcanic. I thought.
Yeah. Well, I was almost thinking, did a predator blow up here? Did one self detonate in this neck of the woods? You know,
Or there
it's
could have
hard-
just been a forest fire that was started,
Okay.
and maybe
Yeah.
even started by the predator.
yeah, that might be
It's
something,
definite.
you know.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but it certainly wasn't any sort of imagery I imagined for this at all. You know, this ashy kind of appearance.
Yeah.
The gray fog, I wasn't surprised because we had that one, you know, we had posted an article on AVP Galaxy where someone on the crew posted an Instagram picture of her behind the camera. And behind her, it looked like it was Amber Mid Thunder. Do you guys remember that shot? And looked like there was some other Comanches in costume. And that whole background, was very, that had this fog-like look. You know, not as deep as obviously this promotional image, but I was like, you know, it kind of mirrors what this promotional image is conveying. And I think it really looks awesome.
Yeah, I was going to say I've been torn between, is it like the sword or is it a gun? But he does have the laser designating shown. So if he didn't have a shoulder cannon, why is it using the laser? The ashes did strike me as interesting.
Here we are.
considering-
Yeah.
Look how foggy that is, guys. And
Now,
you know,
see,
try to
but
get
that's
over
got-
Jeff Cutter's shoulder there. Amber
Yeah,
Mid
I was going to say
Thunder, right over-
that's got a lot of grass there. The image we see in the
Yeah.
promotional thing, it just looks like desolation. And because of the trees look stripped of foliage. So I'm thinking that could possibly insinuate there is some sort of fire, maybe which has wiped out her clan or something, which is why she has to resort to being the only one left alive, something like that. But I do like how they've used, as AJ pointed out, this sort of subversive art technique, which I'm a fan of too, where they've made the predator look like it's in line with the silhouettes of the trees themselves. But yeah, those trees have no real leaves or anything on, so that combined with the ash does make me think either there's been a volcanic eruption or more like, because there's no magma, more like that is the aftermath of a fire. But I do like how they combined it with the silhouettes of the trees. I'm a big fan of that kind of thing.
And maybe Adam will know, because the Comanche was usually the southern part of the United States, in Texas, New Mexico. Is there any
Or maybe
volcano?
Eric will know.
Yeah, I've got this is an actual thing of
Is there any
that's
volcanoes?
the yellow thing here, Comanche. That they were surrounded by the Apache. The Comanche and Apache were at each other's throats a lot. They were like big mortal enemies. But that's where they are, the Comanches, and that's in relation to the
There we
US.
Well,
All right.
another thing I was wondering was the Proto-Comanche were a bit closer to Wyoming, I believe, and that's the direction I thought this movie was going, because there was talk of like before the colonies, and I still feel like this movie could be before like a major expansion out west, because if it is 1700s, if it's early 1700s, I mean, much of the United States was still wild at that point, so we may not have any interaction between the Native Americans and the settlers still. It may just be different parts of the geography.
With the time frame, I am fully expecting.
Yes.
Now that we know,
Right.
I am fully
Oh, come
expecting
on. You
it to
guys are
be
getting your hopes up
Adeline.
for that.
No, I wouldn't say I'm getting hopes up. I just think that it's one of those lingering plot points that you've always heard people talk about. You know,
But that was like Spain, right? Or no, that was like South America.
That's
right?
I've got some. I was looking up some Comanche history here. Because they said on the blurb it's around 300 years, so that puts it around 1720-ish. Now, 1690 was when the Comanche first obtained the horse.
which they got from the Spanish, didn't they?
Yeah, and the 1719, which would have been around this time, that is when the first recorded Comanche raids for horses in New Mexico occurred. There was a lot of interaction between the Comanche and Mexicans, and in fact, the Comanche were really quite brutal, and they weren't just going around killing people; they were enslaving a lot of children and stuff. In fact, by the height of the early 18th century, the Comanche were the dominant traffickers of enslaved people. They had about 10 to 25% of the population was made up by enslaved Mexican people in bondage, but that was at the height of their empire. But yeah, around 1719, they were doing horse raids into New Mexico. But a lot of that was like it wouldn't have been white settlers particularly, as I understand it. So if there's any interaction in regards to that, it would be more to do with Mexican sort of stuff.
So
conquistadors.
So let me back up. Let me back up because we didn't even address the point in case anyone didn't catch what we're talking about. So, there's that flintlock pistol that the elder predator throws that has Raphael Adolini's name on it to Mike Harrigan in the movie Predator 2. Now, we heard Thomas Brothers talk that might turn into a sequel if Predator 2 was successful. It could have been Predator 3. We've seen Kevin Peter Hall say the same. Suggest the same thing.
Peter Briggs pitched a thing with it as well, and I can guarantee you that was brought up countless times to Fox.
Now, in regards to the question, the Spanish did colonize that area, Adam. It is a Spanish gun. Now the
Italian name.
The name is Italian, but then again, around that time, and it started ending in the early 1700s, it was Spanish Italy. Spanish had taken over most of Italy. They had ruled those provinces. I don't think there were certain areas of Italy they still didn't conquer, but they had ruled a lot of Italy. And then they were beaten back. So it definitely can work. And we did. There was an article we also posted on a VP Galaxy. There was someone on Reddit that actually took pictures.
Did that actually get front paged?
Yes, it did. Well, I think we updated the article and it got front paged. So it was an update to the other article, and we added more shots of skulls, aka prey, as they were filming on set, and we got to see some of the Comanche warriors in costume. Now, this same Reddit poster, I'm not going to bring up their name because I contacted this person because in the comments of his pictures, he did say he talked to someone on set and they indicated that it was going to address or feature the Raphael Adolini Spanish flintlock pistol. So yes, this guy could be making it up, but he was also truly on set. We actually
I mean,
used
given the time
pictures.
period, it comes to mind for sure, and it's definitely possible. It would be something that they would put in there for fans, I think. But it would just, I don't know. We did see that story kind of told in the Dark Horse comic. I know most people are not going to remember that. And
Yeah.
where was that? Was that on like the Caribbean or something? I think, or was it?
I
some
don't. I
sort of-
don't. I don't think it was ever. I don't think it was stated in the comic. I can't remember.
But if it was to address that, like, I don't know, we haven't seen any interaction between settlers and the Native American. I know we haven't seen a lot of behind the scenes of this movie at all, so that still could be a thing. But it seems like if we're focused on the Native Americans here and their conflict with the Predator, I'm like, how would this pistol come into play? Like, it just
Well,
seems
they
like
were-
it'd be a
It's just
lot
been
to-
explained. It's just been explained. They had contact with the Spanish through the
Yeah, they were-
Mexicans or the Spanish.
Even back in 1690, they were trading with the Spanish for hides. So what you trade with, it could be anything. I mean, you could. There are all manner
Yeah,
of ways.
I
you can
guess
get the
that's a
pistol.
good point. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then,
Could
you know,
happen.
there's also the idea that perhaps you would try and lead them to some Spanish or some Mexicans. You know, what with
Yeah.
them having firearms and stuff like that.
And
Yeah.
it's possible, guys, that we don't even see a Spanish one. We just see one of the Comanche warriors that has the gun
Yeah, well,
that
yeah.
defeated it from a
Yes.
previous battle that happened off screen.
Or traded.
Yeah. So, I mean, as a huge Predator 2 fan, I want to see this happen. Not only because I'm a huge fan, but because I want to stick it to Adam. Because Adam gave me a hard
Adam-
time and mocked me a year ago when we first did our first Skulls podcast.
I still think it's a stretch that this is going to connect with that, but I could be
With-
wrong.
With the
We'll see.
date, I am now firmly in the camp of, yeah, I reckon this is going to show up.
Feels a little coincidental if they don't. Yeah.
Yeah. Literally, the moment I was like, take 3 is 17. Yes,
But
this is going to
they
be.
said 300 years ago. That was in the press release, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So we've got our first official synopsis for the film as well, which well, I wouldn't say synopsis; it was more of a log line, which is the film's going to be set in the world of the Comanche Nation 300 years ago, following Naru, who we'd previously known as Ki, a skilled female warrior who fiercely protects her tribe against a highly evolved alien predator. So yes, they officially call out 300 years as the time frame.
Yeah. The actual on the Variety page, they have it in quotes. It's worded a little bit differently, Aaron, but it says everything there. So, and it also includes the 300 years ago, and it says that the tribe goes against a highly evolved alien predator. And what's interesting is alien predator is in lowercase, so it's just another. It's just another
Just edging
thing.
it away from Predator as the. You kind of have to wonder how much of this is to do with the lawsuit at the minute as well, don't you?
It's going to be the river ghost
Well,
again.
that and the reaction to the Predator, or
Yeah,
the performance of that, I guess I would say. is
I
trying to.
I fully thought the Predator was gonna have tanked the franchise
Me
for a little
too.
while, but
I keep saying this. Like, I thought it would have been like 10 years before we saw another Predator movie.
well, I suppose it helped. This was in pre-development while the Predator was being made before the Predator was being made. You know,
I attribute it to that low key marketing. I mean, sometimes when I'm looking for movies to play on Hulu, I subscribe and I read a synopsis and I hit play. And you're not necessarily going to think Predator when it's lowercase p, just like you wouldn't think it's Alien with lowercase a. So it's still, it depends what the trailer does. And, I mean, but still, even if the trailer shows the Predator, a lot of people don't watch trailers when they just pick something on Hulu. I do think it could draw in some fans not knowing it's a Predator film. So even in
I think anyone who's looking for it, though,
yes,
will
anyone
know.
who's looking for
Yeah.
it will know. No one will know it's a Predator by looking at that image who's not very familiar with Predator. I don't think my wife would pick that out. She would see this hulking figure in the background who actually looks a little taller than it should, but I chalk that up to promotional
Higher
conditioning.
ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Because-
I have to wonder if this is a proper still of the film suit as well, because that I mean, we can't really see much, but there's definitely some unique
Yeah,
detailing
the
going off there.
biomask, I was really like, what does that look like?
That's
Because the
very
laser is kind of in a
Predator
different
2
point.
with the
Like,
rigid.
I think it looks like there's some patterns like that on one of the hunting ground masks that I think it looks quite similar to.
You know, I wonder if we could sharpen that in Photoshop and change the contrast. And
And
I went
Enhance.
looking for a higher resolution image, and I could not find one. It was 1200 by 1200 was the max anywhere I saw. But
I'll have to see if I've still got access to the Fox press vault. I don't know if I still do. See if there's a.
it's
see if
not
it's on
Fox
there.
anymore. It's not Fox.
Well, studio press vault.
Speaking of studios, it's interesting how the logo for 20th Century Studios is right by the logo for the film. Like, that's a very Disney thing to do.
Yeah, Disney's Marvel, Disney's Avengers.
It's like EA Games with their games. It's like EA Star Wars, like just right there, and like, we want you to know we did this.
Maybe it's just to remind people it's not Disney, because when it was first announced, I was like, oh my God, is this on Disney Plus? This is Disney Plus Day. Does this mean it's going to be on Disney Plus and not Hulu? And it's
I think
PG-13
in the
and not rated
UK,
R?
it's
For the
going to
UK,
be
it's
Disney
the
Plus
same.
Star.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Disney
Well,
Plus has like the Star
we've got
thing
them
for
all.
the adult films.
Yeah.
But I guess
I think
maybe
AJ was meaning more in terms of tonality. And
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
there,
yeah.
weren't you?
I get you. Yeah. I'm still hoping it's not PG-13. Please, no.
It's not going to be. If it's on Hulu and it's on Star, it's not going to be PG-13. I don't think.
Actually,
I don't think that'd be a concern.
I don't think they even have to rate it, right? Am I correct
Yeah,
in that? If
They'll
it's on
still
Hulu?
rate it. I think they will.
You sure?
The rate. I mean, I'm fairly certain in the UK anyway. Ratings are included on the.
Because we get unrated movies all the time here.
That's right. You know, you're right. Yeah, there's streaming platforms that just have unrated films. I don't know. That's a good question. Maybe they just avoid that altogether. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even if it doesn't get rated in the US, it's still going to need to get rated in other areas based on their rulings. Like, we wouldn't. If it, we'll have to talk about the release stuff now as well. But like, if hopefully it does also get a home release over here, it would have to be rated. We do not have unrated releases.
Yeah,
so
legal.
I think this is a good segue into another piece of big news, that this will be streaming on Hulu. This will be the first streaming release Predator film. And I've seen some comments. I know Mikey was like, oh, we need to let the studio know that we want this in theaters too. But I don't know. I feel like streaming is just, it's become like the norm more than theaters these days.
It will never not be a bummer that we can't go and see it on the big screen. By all accounts, this is going to be streaming exclusive. There seems to be no indication from what we're seeing.
The official post says only on Hulu. I did see some reporting on like Game Informer that was saying maybe it would also come to theaters. I think Jeff Cutter also responded on Instagram saying, I don't know, it could or something.
He said he hoped.
Yeah.
I mean,
but in all likelihood, it's looking like this is going to be extreme and exclusive.
Which is a shame, because at the end of the day, we would all want to go and see it on a big ass fucking, proper theatre projector. But something that has me rolling my eyes is people's reaction to, it's streaming only, and equating it to the olden days of direct to video, direct to DVD kind of quality.
Streaming
stuff.
movies
Those
have
days are
budgets
gone.
bigger than theatrical releases now. A lot of them, like that. Streaming has become par and parcel with the type of production value you would expect with a Hollywood theatrical release. That's just the nature of things now.
Well, I think especially for these
years.
I think especially for these smaller budget films, they're always now going to have a home on streaming. They're just not going to get theatrical runs. That's going to be for the real big budget superhero, Marvel. But a lot of these smaller ones, I think, are perfect for streaming, and I think I'm excited that this is going to be on Hulu. We did break the story first, by the way, that this was going to be on Hulu. And I'm okay with it. I agree with you, Aaron. I would love to see this on the big screen, but I don't see this as a detriment at all. And geez, now I'm gonna be able to watch it like 10 times in a row on opening day. I'm gonna take the day off and I'm gonna start watching this thing from midnight. Will it come in on midnight? I don't even know. I've never actually premiered a movie and been that excited about it on streaming.
Yeah, I agree with you. It'll be an interesting different experience, and I'm not entirely against it. Like when it might be a first time a movie I'm really anticipating will have come out to streaming, like you were saying too. I remember like Godzilla versus Kong and Dune. I guess Dune I was kind of anticipating. We just watched at home, and it was a cool experience. Like we made it into a movie night kind of thing. So I still think you can make it like, a special movie night, but it will be different not going to the theater
Yeah, it's
when one
just
of
not
these
the
movies
same.
comes out. But at the same time, it's like, well, what are you going to do? You're going to plan a little event for it. You're going to have people over to watch it. Like it kind of, it makes for an interesting, just kind of different way of premiering a movie. The main concern I have is physical home media,
Mhm.
because a lot of streaming stuff, especially with Disney and Disney Plus shows, is just kept on streaming, and that's the only way you can ever access it. I know with Hulu, I know with Netflix, they're a bit more lenient, and sometimes they'll release their movies and shows on Blu-ray. And I really hope they realize that a lot of fans out there want this Blu-ray on their shelf after they see the movie after a period of time. So hopefully it does get that home media release, but it may not.
Why get $20 out of you when they can make you a subscriber for life? They'll keep the Skulls on there. They'll keep the Alien series on there. They'll never release it. And you'll just, unless, you go the dark web pirating method, which I do not recommend, they have a subscriber for life, especially if they keep adding new content. And unfortunately, that seems like
Yeah,
it's going to.
to the best of my knowledge, Disney still has not brought out The Mandalorian
No.
on
No.
Blu-ray.
Yep.
And that's an example of
Yeah.
And they don't plan
possibly
to with any of their
direction.
Marvel or Star Wars shows, but
You would have
Yeah.
thought they would, because
That's
that's additional
bullshit.
revenue. But
Absolute bullshit is what
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
It's I'll be a very unhappy camper if it doesn't see a home release.
Oh, we all will. I have a space right on my movie shelf cleared for it. And
I
but
had
it's
some poster frames ready for a poster as well from it. I want
Yeah, well-
to see my one sheets that I'm not going to get anymore.
yeah.
well, one thing that's interesting is you're seeing, I think Netflix bought a theater in LA. I think they bought the Egyptian Theater to premiere their films. And so it's possible we could see a limited release of this for the purposes of a premiere, and it would just be like LA, New York, not much of the US, maybe London too. But just like, in the bigger cities, you can sometimes get small release movies that are mostly streaming releases. I don't know. It could happen. I don't think this is going to see a wide theatrical release, at least. This is going to be primarily a streaming movie.
I'm not banking on being able to send either of you to a premiere or going to see a press showing of this one. It's got to be sad.
When 20th Century Fox says, I've seen him say in theaters and on streaming, right? This one doesn't say on streaming. This says only on Hulu 2020. So here in the US, I do not expect any kind of public theatrical release, even in the big cities, much to my chagrin.
I think also it's a case that because of possible upcoming lockdowns, blah, 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 it might be that they haven't decided 100%. It could be down the road they will also say they're doing a cinematic release. It's just that at the moment all they can say is it will definitely be streaming.
But that's not typical. If it's not day in, day of, they're usually not going to release something streaming and then down the road release it theatrically, unless it's for like a special event type thing.
Well, I mean, we've still got months until this is actually due to come out anyway. So
could be. There's still time.
I really think this is the future, though. This is the future model. I mean, regardless, for these smaller, when you're spending $40 million on a film, $50 million on older franchises that still have a following, but not enough to justify a big theatrical worldwide release. I think this is the way they're going to go.
It's become the expectation. Like even on Twitter, I noticed you have some movies now using the term exclusively in theaters as if that's not the norm. And someone pointed that out for Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, a movie I'm excited for, but also kind of cautious about, like not looking too great at the moment. But somebody pointed out the exclusively in theaters, and they were like, I don't like seeing that. Like that just feels like bad attitude for a movie to have now. So it's almost expected that if you're not exclusively streaming, you're streaming alongside a theatrical release. And maybe this is due to the the lingering things with what's happening right now that we can't say on YouTube because we get demonetized. But the state of the world going on as long as it does, that has just changed the dynamic of movies. Probably long after that is over, that dynamic, just because a lot of people have big screens in their house now. A lot of people don't want to go out and go to the theater and deal with all that. They just want to have a night at home, and to at least have the option there is great, I think, for a lot of people. Now there will be people, myself included, that always love that cinema experience, that always want that's important. Like, that should remain there for sure. But the nature of movie releases is just forever changed, and this is part of that change.
And television as well, the shows.
Yeah. Luckily, big screens have become a lot more affordable as each decade goes by. You used to have to spend $2,000 on a large projection TV, and it was a box, and now you could just go to your local, convenience store and, only spend a couple $100 and have a nice big screen. So the technology.
Do we know what the budget for this was yet?
We do not.
Production?
No idea.
We've got no idea. Ballpark.
We heard rumors, but we don't know. And then, of course, the filming in Canada helps extend those dollars, because I think the American dollar is more valuable than the Canadian dollar right now. So
it was lower than the Predator, I'm guessing.
Well, especially with the reshoots, right? Yeah.
I fully expect so, yeah. But we don't have to wait too long to find out. It's aiming for a summer release next year, so we're anywhere from June, I guess. So 7 months to wait. Hopefully we'll have some marketing.
Yeah, when do we expect the first trailer? You think it'll drop for Christmas, just like the Covenant one did? Or
I think it'll be in the spring.
Yeah,
I think in the spring.
Yeah,
they'll want the special effects finished for trailers and stuff. Unless they do a teaser, they could do a teaser.
That's what I mean, like an initial teaser. Like the first Alien Covenant one was less than a minute, and it was.
I don't think we'll see one for this, because they wanted to keep it very low key. It's not like dropping the AVP suit.
That's true.
Pans,
they're not marketing for a big cinematic release too. They are marketing for streaming, and that marketing is going to be different. So that is,
I expect a very low key experience covering this one. Hopefully, I'll be wrong, but I do hope we get to see more.
I expect a blitz 2 months before, and nothing really before that. Yeah,
maybe.
And we haven't heard about a music composer yet, have we?
No. Nope. Nope.
Well,
they probably haven't even scored it yet.
I'm crossing my fingers for Silvestri, but we have no idea.
Right, well, that is, I think, pretty much everything covered. Anybody else got anything to say on that before we wrap up?
Nope.
I'm still looking forward to it. I'm still hopeful. I'm still curious to see how this one goes down, and very much looking forward to learning more and seeing more.
Yeah.
Yep. We're all looking forward to this one.
It's good to just see it out there, on the official socials, and for the marketing to officially begin.
Some actual acknowledgement of it as well, is great.
Yeah.
But if you're interested, make sure you're sticking around with AVP Galaxy. It all hits the website first in written form, first on avpgalaxy.net, and if it's something big and interesting, we'll try and do like one of these motion tracker videos, just talking about it a little bit more, treating it as like a mini podcast basically, which you can find on the YouTube channel, which obviously because you're watching on YouTube right now. But if this is your first time on there, please head back to the main page, check out some of our other content. We have video versions of our podcasts. And if you'd rather listen on the go in the car like me, there's also a normal RSS feed on all the normal podcatchers. There's other bits and pieces on the YouTube as well, Let's Plays, live streams. We've been doing those a bit more regularly. Editorial pieces and stuff like that. Again, if you prefer reading, though, there are written versions on the website of most of those editorial pieces, which you can check out, again, on avpgalaxy.net. We're on all the socials, again, AVP Galaxy or Alien vs. Predator vs. as in BS. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. That's all the socials.
Search for us, we'll be there.
That was a good plug. Nice.
And if you want to come and chat with fellow Alien and Predator fans, we do have a message board on the website, again, avpgalaxy.net. If you click the forums link, you can register and join in and get your nerd on with the rest of us. If you'd rather Facebook, we do have a group, but I prefer the message boards. But there is a Facebook group if you are so inclined to do that.
And we got a Discord.
We do have a Discord, but I can't really give that one out. It's discord.com/R3XY. There is a link to that on the forums in the general gaming section. I need to get D to update the website with it.
Same with the Steam group. We need to give the Discord and the Steam group some love. They've been a little neglected.
We'll have a thing floating across the screen with it.
No,
At some point.
That's effort for that stuff. But yeah. Anyway. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below, and we'll try and respond to folk who do. Thank you for watching. This has been Corporal Hicks.
Dredge Top.
Voodoo Magic.
Xenomorphine.
Get into the chopper.